finishing up. This is part 2. Got cut off, ran out of room. If you have not watched part 1, it is 1000% necessary that you watch part 1 so you can even understand this message. I will link part 1 in the description box for you. But everyone who's watched part 1 and you're following along, we're going to jump right back into it so I don't run out of space again. So, as I was saying, in this time frame and window, this Passover season of blessings, of what the Lord is setting up for the future going forward, you want to be a part of it. Okay? And it is going to affect everything from understanding, gifts, wisdom. You may need deliverance from a specific spiritual battle. You may be plagued with in a certain area when it comes to sin. You may need physical healing in your body. It's going to affect your personal life. It's going to affect your ministry and place in the kingdom. Who are you in the kingdom? Who are you in the Lord? The Lord didn't just create people just to create people. Each person is a special, specific individual with specific talents and a purpose and a destiny. It's like, hello, we haven't even stepped into that. We don't even know. We need to seek the Lord on those answers. In the harvest, in the last days, this is going to touch on everything you can think of. And if we are obedient and sow into this season, with open hearts and open hands and willingness, he will touch on those different areas in our lives. And I have already seen it come to pass in my own ministry and in my own life. And this is just reminding us to seek his face during this season. Okay? And I'm not going to sit up here. I'm not perfect, guys. But I tell you one thing, I don't want to be left behind, and whatever the Lord's doing, I want to be a part of it, and I want as big of a piece as I can possibly get. I know that I want it. And I want all that he has for me. So, it's okay that you're coming in late, a little bit late. I came into this understanding and message late. I didn't come into it at the very beginning, but I'm in it now, and I'm trying to hit the ground running as best as I can. It's not to become overly nervous and panicked or anything like that. Just obey and move forward and act now. That's all we need to do. Even like I said, starting off in the small ways. Excuse me, my voice is getting a little hoarse from speaking, but I'm going to finish this up and press through. So, how are the main ways we can sow into this particular time frame? Starting now, going into, what did it say? We have 10 days until the end of Passover. So from now until April 27th, this is a time frame we're looking to receive this message and sow into it. Fasting. I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of people are okay with praying, but they don't want to combine fasting with it. And remember what the Lord said, certain things, certain demons and certain things can't be accomplished unless you have fasting and praying together. So it's not about doing either or, it's about doing both regarding a matter, right? So right now in this season, all the subjects that we touched on, you want to be fasting and praying regarding them. Everything I just went through. Okay? And it can be anything on your heart, any burden, anything you need clarity and growth in. Fasting and praying during this time frame. Does that mean you have to fast every single day till April 27th? No. If you desire to, willingly, and you would like to, I would 1000% recommend it. Because if you can walk out each day, the rest of this time period, please do so. Please do so. That would be such a huge, I guarantee you, when you're done, when it's in due season to reap, you will have something monumental happen to you. I can guarantee you that. So if you're able to and you desire to, then go right ahead. I encourage you to. But I'm not saying each and every person, we don't have to fast every single day. He's looking for our effort and our best foot forward. So for me personally, I've only been able to fast 2 days out of the time period so far. And I'm gonna, Lord's willing, try to accomplish as much more as I can by April 27th. So it's about your effort, guys, and if it's genuine. So don't try to get burdened by it like it's some religious ceremony. Oh, I have to fast this whole time. No. Do whatever you can and push yourself. The main focus is don't be a freeloader and just sit there and do nothing. That's the whole point. So, fasting yourself from food is one of the best ways to fast. However, it doesn't have to be food. Whatever gives your flesh pleasure, that's what you want to starve. Okay? So for instance, you may find it too difficult, or you may have health issues to where you can't fast from food. Okay, fast from television for a certain amount of time. It can be the whole week. It can be the whole 10 days. It could be 3 days, 5 days, whatever. Do something. Fast from entertainment. Fast from sugar. If you're a person who eats sweets, say, I'm not going to have sweets for 5 days or this next 10 days. You can do an all liquid fast. Or you can do like smoothies and vegetable and fruit drinks and not have solid foods. It could be anything that gives your pleasure flesh to where you're fasting yourself from receiving that pleasure. You're starving the flesh. If you love meat, you could say, I'm not going to eat meat for 3 days and just eat fruits and vegetables. Whatever the case may be, if you're in love with sodas and you drink soda multiple times a day, say, you know what, I'm going to give up soda for 5 days. Whatever the case may be, find something. It may be from the internet. I'm going to fast from being on the internet for 3 days or 24 hours, or I'm going to do a food fast for 24 hours. Whatever the case may be, find a way to starve your flesh from something that brings your flesh pleasure, and that's going to empower your spirit, man. During this season, I guarantee if you do that at least one or more times, I encourage definitely more than one. Even if it's only a fast from something at least 3 times during this window, please try for 3. But once again, I touched on in my other video, the more you pour in, the more you're going to get out. So if you want to get out something small, you can be comfortable with giving small. But if you want something out of this, you want something big, then you need to pour yourself into it. So, moving on, going to kind of run through the end of this very quickly. This is another major way of how you can sow into this Passover season, is sowing a financial seed. Now, like I said, don't just go run out there giving anybody your money and giving any church your money and thinking that you're going to be blessed. Don't just randomly go donate. Oh, the children's hospital. Oh, starving people. Guys, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that you're sowing your seeds into what? Seek ye first the kingdom. That's what you sow your tithes into, the kingdom. And you have to first know who and what ministries the Lord considers part of his true kingdom. If you just randomly go out there and toss your money around, you're not going to reap in return because you didn't seek him. The Spirit isn't leading you. You don't even know. You need to know that whoever and whatever you sow into financially, you need to know that the Spirit is in that movement. Okay? That's what it's all about. So, if you want to sow financially into my ministry, that opportunity will be available to you. Leave me a message below and I will try to, send you some information of how you can do that. It may be someone else. This is how you know. Whoever has helped building you up in the Spirit Not just entertaining you and making fun videos, not just talking about judgment coming on everybody else but you, not whoever has the most fancy graphics and the biggest channel. That's not what the Lord is looking for. He's looking for who is raising you up in the spirit, man. Who is making you more mature and contributing to your understanding and maturity in the word and in the spirit. If you know ministries like that, who keeps you encouraged in the spirit, keeps the spirit strong. Whoever's operating like that, that's where you need to plant your seeds, guys. And it may be multiple places. You may give $10 here and $10 there. You may say, I know 3 very good ministries that are strong in the spirit and have blessed me. Instead of just taking, you know what? I'm going to give $5 here, $5 here, $5 here, $20 here, whatever the case may be. You know your situation. I'm going to leave that between you and the Lord. So in some way, shape, or form, or a combination of all these things, we need to get aligned and we need to get sowing in this season if we want to be on board with the Lord is doing. Okay? Just as I said before, when you help build a ministry up, you also attach yourself to it. And when that ministry reaps and produces that fruit and that harvest, you are also a part of that harvest because you sowed into it. So for those of you who don't have a lot of money, don't let that hinder you and say, oh, I can give nothing. Don't do that, please. Remember the woman in scripture, she didn't have much money, but she gave all she had. Okay, it will be better for you to give something small if it's all you have than give nothing. I know for me, it was a ministry in particular who really helped me during this season and gave me understanding. And I know for a fact the Lord used to help get me in alignment. I only had $7. I sure ran and took my butt and hurry up and got that $7 off to that ministry instead of being a freeloader and just taking. I sure did take my little $7 over there, quick, fast, and hurry. So I don't want the main focus to be money. You can also sow in these different ways. Like I said, fasting, praying. But if you can and if you have something, even if it's a little bit, I would personally encourage you to sow something financial because you're just layering on the blessings. You're layering on in all the different ways that the Lord can return that to you. So me, for instance, finance is a very big area of financial independence. Doesn't have to mean wealth. It could mean wealth. I don't know. I don't know what the Lord has, but it doesn't have to mean wealth. I'm just asking for financial stability and independence. So for me, I'm going to make sure if I know I want finances, I'm going to give finances. Okay? So, but if you're unsure, if you just feel led, like I said, post me a message down below if you want to give to me. If you feel led and someone is meeting the criterias as far as spiritually feeding you bread that's helping you actually mature in the Lord and grow in the spirit, if they're teaching you spirit kingdom things, if they're helping to enhance your understanding, they have been instrumental in in imparting gifts, all those high level things, sow into the kingdom. If you feel unsure, you're just not sure yet where to give, what do? Seek Him first. Just go ask the Lord. Lord, show me and lead me and guide me on who would be a good steward of your financial, for me to place my financial seed. Who's really operating in the kingdom, Lord? Is it okay if I give to this person or this ministry? Just ask them. If your heart feels unsure, just ask them first. That's all I'm going to say. And the rest of that financial thing I'll leave between people and the Lord. So, we already touched on seek the kingdom first. We already touched on the important principles of sowing, planting your seeds in this time frame, this Passover time frame. And that is going to lead to reaping your harvest. So you will, as you sow, when the Lord is asking you to sow and being obedient, He's going to build you up. He's going to nourish you. He's going to train you up, teach you, and turn you into a person that's equipped and ready to go out and go forth into the world. Even Jesus had to go through preparation before He went forth, right? So He's looking for willing workers to come get trained so they can go forth and reap the harvest in the last day harvest and win souls. But also, as I just touched on, it's going to be on a personal level too. But first you seek the kingdom, then He will add all these things onto you. As far as your purpose, in due season, in the right time, you will reap, if you're obedient in sowing into this last day's harvest. And I already touched on how it can affect all the different areas of your life, address all the different burdens you may have, and take you into that promised land. That flowing land of milk and honey is where we're trying to get to. Not just so we can have a good time, but it also is for the kingdom purpose. And out of that, both in our natural physical lives, in our spiritual lives, and where we are spiritually, and also in the world, it will all lead to new life, resurrection. This is how it all ties all back to the Passover, Easter, resurrection season. Okay? That's how it all ties in together. Revival. That's the kingdom purpose where the Lord's heart and mind is right now. He's looking for workers in the revival. But first, we have to be renewed and revived. We have to step into that promised land and destiny to get built up so we can properly and fully and more effectively participate in the end times revival. And once again, everything is done upon His instructions, not on our own. Okay? And as you continue to seek, pray, fast, sow, tithe, cleanse yourself. As you begin to be obedient in all those things, everything will begin to come to you. Your path will become clear. His instructions will become clear. His voice in your life will become clear. A lot of people may say, oh, you get dreams. Oh, the Lord talks to you. You're able to understand His voice. Guys, He's no respecter of persons. We're all supposed to be hearing Him like this. This is supposed to be normal. Not just this special person over here or that special guy over there. We're all supposed to be hearing Him and understanding Him and receiving Him and have a personal relationship and dialogue back and forth. So like I said, take those first steps as you're obedient and you start walking in it. All of those things will begin to clarify, crystallize, and mature. And you will build yourself up to where you can understand the Lord, receive messages, know what He's saying, know His voice, and all that stuff. So, as I touched on earlier, a lot of you may be feeling stuck and stagnant in your life, your purpose, ministry, family, healing, all those things, finances. This is an important message for you. This is how the Lord is going to break us out of that bondage. Remember, this traces all the way back to the Exodus, which was also the first Passover, right? Let me find it. So the Exodus and Passover are linked. Remember, I started and I said it's going to come full circle if you let me explain. So we're being free from bondage and oppression and being led into the promised land. So this is for all of us who feel like we have been stuck for so many years. He's trying to free you from that bondage and bring you into something new, life-giving, rewarding, blessing, something more comfortable, something full of prosperity and healing and joy and happiness. Okay? But if you aren't prepared to receive it and you don't even know that it's happening, you can miss out. So, in closing, I want to touch on one thing, and it's in case this cuts off, just go ahead and search it out for yourself, but it's the bread of haste. And this is the bread that they ate at the first Passover when Moses and the Hebrews were about to leave Egypt, and they had their bitter herbs, which reminded them of their bitter past in that bondage, but also they ate the bread of haste. This is why we eat unleavened bread now. And you can kind of pause this screen right here because they gave some good verses on this meaning and subject. But the reason why they didn't get enough time to put yeast into the bread because they had to hurry up and leave Egypt because they were being set free. So, and it was called the bread of haste. So remember I said the end from the beginning. We're looking back at the original Exodus, the original Passover, the original, sacrifice that was given, which is having the blood over your door. Now for us today is having the Lord's blood over our hearts. But we're looking at all those pictures and themes and stories because this is giving us a picture of clarity for this historic. This is a time frame like no other Passover, this historic 2019 Passover resurrection season, and how it connects to the very first Passover in Exodus. This has given us our instructions and directions of where we are, where to go, and what to do. So, bringing up the bread of haste, how they had to hurry up and eat that flat unleavened bread because there was no time to let the yeast get in it and rise for normal bread because they were moving so quickly. We're free. We're getting the heck out of here. This is that rapid, moving very fast mindset and urgency we need to have in participating and jumping on board in this season. It's only 10 days left, guys. So starting from right now, we only have 10 days. So we need to move the bread of haste. We're receiving the bread now because we're digesting his word, his message, or what the Holy Spirit gave me to give to you, right? So at the same time that we're receiving that, it's also bread of haste. We need to make haste and urgency in participating. We need to make haste in obeying and being a part of it. We need to make haste because it's only 10 days. We need to make haste swiftly, immediately. Like I said, even if it starts off with one simple prayer, sowing into it and being a part of it, hopping on board. Haste, immediately beginning a fast, whatever you can do. Immediately seek him, immediately pray, immediately give and offer whatever you have. Don't wait till you have $100, although you could also down the line do that as well. But don't wait till you have $100 next month. The Lord says his window is open now. It will be better to be obedient and act and give somebody $15 now in the Lord's timing and sow into what he's asking for, then wait till next month to try and give some big fancy $100, $500 offer or tithing. Okay? So it's about being in alignment with his timing, his window of time, and moving with haste. Because there are some things the Lord does that he gives lots of time and lots of grace for. Being a part of this season is not one of them. It's a very short window. Let me pull something else up. It's a very short window. Sorry about that. It's just not clear. It's a very short window and opportunity, okay, for you to buy into and be a part of. And we have a very short amount of days to hop on board. Okay? And if you don't, you can run the risk of being left behind. Guys, we have to open up our minds. Is the Lord a one-trick pony or not? He's not a one-trick pony. So we only think of the prospect of being left behind as far as the rapture. Guys, there is constantly a move of God. There is constantly a rapture in the spirit occurring in the earth. Whenever the Lord's glory touches down and he does something, he does a new thing, or he makes a move, or he puts forth a movement, or his spirit is on the move, or he builds something, or he does something, or he even intervenes on something, or he catches us up to the next level higher in the spirit or closer to him, that is a spiritual rapture. That's always occurring, and always has been, and always will be. It's not just about one single rapture event and one single time you can get left behind. We can constantly get left behind in our lives if we aren't in tune with the Lord and what he's doing and what he's asking us for. And he will move on. When his time frame is up and his grace is up, he will move on and you will miss out. I've missed out on many things, and I'm sure you guys have too. And the place you get left behind in, it can be a very desolate place because you never received those blessings that he intended for you to have in that season. So people want to wonder why things are the way. Part of it can be sufferings allowed by the Lord. But a lot of sufferings people do unnecessarily because they never were on board with the Lord's agenda in the proper time. And when the Lord's glory left that place or left that season, that person got left behind. In understanding, clarity, knowledge, spiritual gifts, financial blessings, healing, all types of stuff, guys. So we don't want to get left behind in this season, because this season is not like any other season. It's specifically tied to the end times. It's specifically tied to what the Lord is doing for his kingdom on earth before the rapture. He has a lot of things planned and a lot of things he wants to be set up before final judgment and final destruction. So all of this is tied into end times harvest. Reaping the wheat and the tares, reaping that final harvesting, guys. So we want to be on board and a part of it. We don't want to be left behind. So if you need to, if this all came at you so quickly, go back and rewind. Don't be afraid to write down some of these principles, some of these instructions, some of these things. That I listed off, because I know it may have been a lot. Write them down, jot them down on a little piece of paper in your notebook, your prayer book, whatever you have to do. Even if you have to pray, Lord, keep me focused on these things you have asked of me in this time frame. If you start struggling, pray. That's always the answer. Just go seek him and pray. If you need help, pray. It's very simple. So like I said, if you need to, go back and rewind. If you need some of the things repeated, write it down, do whatever you need to do to get yourself in order, to get yourself aligned with what the Lord is doing, and to do whatever you need to do to sow into this temporary Passover resurrection season so that you can go on to reap the harvest in due time. So, I'm going to let you guys go. The Lord be with you. I will be praying for you guys. Please keep me in mind. Pray for me. Like I said before, if you feel led and you would like to sow a financial seed or blessing into this ministry or my channel, leave me a message below and I will kind of coordinate with you from there. Other than that, I will let you guys go. Obviously, the kingdom is very busy right now, and just keep that picture in mind. It's not a very flattering description of what the Lord said of a lot of people being kingdom freeloaders. That's not, that's a very, I don't want to have that label, and I don't want the Lord looking down on me as if I'm a freeloader. I know that much. And so I'm going to do what I need to do, not just to reap the benefits and blessings, but also I don't want the Lord looking at me like that, like I'm just a burden, some freeloader just sucking from his kingdom, just self-involved and worried about myself and being lazy. I don't want him looking at me like that. And so think about that picture in your mind and reflect on how we've lived our lives and how we're walking our walk out with the Lord and how our behavior is inside of the kingdom. Is it one of a lazy freeloader? Because he said time is running out for the freeloaders. He's looking for workers. Okay? So I'm going to leave you guys there. God bless you, and Lord's willing, I will catch up with you in the next video or the next message. Bye.